Yes. Oh, wait, it's EQDD. It's EQDD. Quorum is 4. All right. Good morning, everyone. Madam Clerk, I'm going to turn it over to you as with the meeting for the French Quarter Economic Development District.
Roll call, Councilmember Moreno,
Present.
Councilmember Morel, Councilmember Harris, Councilmember Green.
Present.
We have 4 members. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you so much, Madam Clerk. Councilmember King, who would be chairing this meeting, is running a little bit behind, so he's asked me to start. We have really one item on the agenda today, and it's the quarterly budget and expenditure reports of the FQEDD Trust Fund. Carly Frankix is the Executive Director of the French Quarter Management District, is here to report on that. So whenever you are ready, you can begin.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. So we're reporting on the 2022 fourth quarter of the French Quarter Economic Development District. As you know, we're governed by a cooperative endeavor agreement that lays out the parties that monitor the agreement. So let's go through the trust fund numbers. Let's start with income and expense. So in the fourth quarter, we had our best month of income of $808,000. You can see that we're still getting old remittances of $14,000, and that's from the old sales tax that folks are still remitting and the city is still collecting. Our expenses went up notably to $802,000, and that's because we started buying the equipment that you all approved in the mid-year budget adjustment. So if we look at our budget actual, so for 2022, our income was just over $3 million. And that's about what we budgeted. So we're about 102% of the income that we projected for 2022. Our expenses are way low at 1.6 million, whereas we budgeted 3 million. That's only 53% of the revenues that were collected and budgeted were spent. If we look at our supplemental police patrol program KPIs, we can see that 100% of our officers were trained in French Quarter specific laws. Our app response time remained high at 24 minutes. Our KPI for that was 10 minutes. Then that can be attributed to the fact that staffing was not fully filled out, and that we've had some GPS issues with the app. So if we don't have the shifts filled, the app time is long because the officers cannot get to the calls as quickly as they should be. Our miles patrolled remained low, again, because we didn't have all the vehicles that are needed to fill the shifts. Our citizen contacts, despite only having half of our shifts filled, remained in a good place, as did our business checks that exceeded our KPI for 2022. Our key performance indices of categories that we track, we don't set goals for these, but we do want to keep track of them to keep a look at the trends of how we're doing. Our app calls received remain consistent at 264 for the fourth quarter. That means we got a total of almost 800 app calls for the year of 2022. Dispatch calls are increasing with 221 in the fourth quarter. Arrests and apprehensions, we had 8. Traffic summons and citations, we're at 38 for the fourth quarter. Subjects moved 302. We managed to get our additional vehicles on patrol because of the donation from New Orleans and Company. Officers in the 8th district is down to 77. Remember that we had close to 170 before Katrina, so we're still very low as we are across the city on number of officers that we need. Our person crimes went down in the fourth quarter to 15. And our officers on the Bourbon Promenade was at 16. So a couple updates that we achieved in the fourth quarter. For our homeless case management, the agreement with Travelers Aid Society of Greater New Orleans and the French Market Corporation was executed. They were able to hire 2 full-time case managers to do field outreach in the French Quarter. This is done again in coordination with the French Market Corporation and the Downtown Development District, with the same supervisor over all of our case managers. The other success in the fourth quarter is that the crime cameras that you approved in the mid-year budget adjustment, the procurement is complete and the installation is starting with the Real-Time Crime Center. The streetlight repairs, as informed by FQMD's lighting assessment, are underway. The streetlight installation has not begun yet, but we started looking at the NOPD crime spots so that we can make sure that those are well placed. And as I mentioned, the act of donation was executed for the 4 additional vehicles that were donated from the private sector because the city has not acquired any vehicles for this program. So one of the things we wanted to present to you is the cumulative 2022 and 2023 budget line items, so that you can see across the 2022 and 2023 budgets, how much has been allocated. And we want to note on here the number of vehicles that have been allocated. We have 5 vehicles that have been allocated over these 2 budgets. That's cars and ATVs, as well as golf carts. So we have almost $219,000 allocated to vehicles that have not been purchased by the city. For the other public safety programs, you can see across the years, 2022 and 2023, how much we've allocated. So as I said, the most important thing that we want to ask your support on is getting those vehicles procured. This is first budgeted in November 2022. The agreement monitors would like the city council to help in getting this procurement done. We understand that the city council approved 75 million for special bids for vehicles. We want to ensure that these SPPP vehicles are included in that process. The other priorities that we're carrying forward into 2023 from 2022 is getting the app RFP out. This is over a year that we've been waiting to get this app RFP out. This is necessary for transparent public bid process. We want to make sure that we have an app that works, that has the best technology, and it has an ethical and transparent public bid process. The other thing is making sure we get these staff positions filled. So we've worked with civil service to do a special overtime bonus for filling our weekend shifts. So that would start at 3 in the afternoon on Friday and go through 3 in the morning on Monday. I understand that it was approved by civil service and it's now to you guys to approve. We're also going to begin the staffing for the pilot program at the Real-Time Crime Center. We also want to make sure that we're enforcing quality of life issues. So in the mid-year budget adjustment, in the 2023 budget, we have budgeted for a code enforcement officer and parking enforcement. The parking enforcement on the weekends has begun, but the city has not moved forward with getting that code enforcement officer. So we want to make sure that we're getting that done. So that's everything that we have to report for the 4th quarter of 2022 and looking at the 1st quarter of 2023. Did you all have any questions?
Questions? Okay. I have a question about the Royal Street Pedestrian Mall. That is continuing.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
The Royal Street Pedestrian Mall,
Yes.
that's a constant issue that comes up. Is there any momentum or any movement with who's going to handle that? How's it going to be rectified?
Well, we've asked the grounds patrol if they can do it. It's within their purview to mobilize bollards and barricades within their purpose, within their mission. So the issue with using the Supplemental Police Patrol program would be that we would have to assure that all those shifts are filled. And again, we haven't had the vehicles to fill all the shifts. I'm hoping with this now that we have the donated vehicles, if we can get the vehicles that have been paid for, we can start filling out the rest of these shifts and assure those shifts are filled. The other thing is assuring that the barricades that are used are compliant with federal law. So the Federal Highway and Transportation Administration has specific requirements for temporary traffic barricades. So using any old barricade that is out there may not be compliant with federal law. So whatever is being used, we want to assure that it is appropriate and legal. So using ad hoc barriers may not be the right move. But what we've asked the Department of Public Works to provide us with the guidance that they've put in for an interim measure while the Bollard Task Force comes up with a permanent solution, as we're also looking at the Bourbon Street bollards and getting those mobilized, because we know those were never mobilized once they were installed. And again, this was an initiative of Homeland Security, but then nobody was actually tasked with mobilizing those barricades and those bollards. So I think it needs to be a comprehensive plan, and I think it needs to be compliant with federal laws that govern temporary traffic barricades.
Okay, thank you. No further questions? At this
All right.
time, I make a motion to adjourn. Second by Councilmember Harris. It's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, President. We voted.
Thank you.
Everybody vote.
All right, the French Quarter Management is adjourned.
Right here. Come and take a picture with you. Good morning, everyone. I'm pleased to be here today, and we're pleased to be joined by members of the George Washington Carver High School Band. Their staff is here today, and we want to celebrate the work that they do because it's certainly a hard job. I was a member of the St. Augustine High School Band for 4 years. I know what our administrators and staff went to. But I'm so very pleased to represent District D, which includes Carver High School. They refer to themselves as the Carver University Marching Band, and I appreciate their work. I'm also pleased to tell you all that Carver is a tremendously stable institution in the not only Desire, Florida area, but in our community. I'm pleased with the work that the graduates have done to make a tremendous contribution to our city and our region and the nation, because Carver graduates are spread through the nation. I also want to thank Carver for its present work, its community work, and the things that it does to make our community a better community. So on today, I want to recognize, as we move into this Mardi Gras season, a school whose green and orange you will see often in parades and in other ventures. So I'm going to ask members of the Carver University Marching Band staff to come forward, if you will. We are going to take a picture with you, but I want Mr. French to say something really quickly on your behalf. And I want to announce to everyone here that based on an action of the city council, and it's just coincidence that we're doing this now, Carver High School is located now on Carver Rams Way. That is the address, Carver Rams Way. Based on a unanimous vote, by the city council in support of an ordinance that I introduced. And it was a reflection on the fact that Carver is so important in that community that every time somebody drives by on Johnny Jackson Boulevard, every time they send a piece of mail, every time that there's a meeting, they need to be reminded that Carver Rams is in the house. So to the representatives, Mr. French from Carver Rams Way, before I call out names for these proclamations, would you greet everyone here and the general public? You do it. You want to do it? Have a seat. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, I'm the head band director, Mr. Eric French. Alongside, I have Mr. David Hudson, Carver alumni. On my left, I have my wife, Tanika French, biggest supporter. I also have Mr. Patrick Williams, he's my assistant band director. On the left of Pat, we have Mr. Alex Hosley. We have my drum instructor, Randy Bell. And last but not least, we have Mr. Jimmy McCray, James McCray.
Why do you do what you do?
It's something that's in me. If you guys are familiar with the Frenches, George French, Bob French, it's something that I guess I can say I inherited, and it's definitely a God's gift. Also, I am a Carver alumnus, graduate from Carver, so there's a passion that's in deep side of me to bring it back to the school, the students, and also the community. This is just something that I love to do and to give back to this entire city, basically.
I'm very impressed by the extent to which graduates of Carver, and I grew up in the Pontchartrain Park area, so there were some people such as the Goulds families and all who went to Carver, how motivated you all are to build your institution.
Yes, yes.
We appreciate that work.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I have proclamations for Mr. Eric French, Mrs. Tanika French, Patrick Williams,